Did you know that the United States just slapped a staggering 50% tariff on Indian goods because India keeps buying Russian oil?
This isn't just about trade, it's about power, energy security, and the future of global alliances. Washington's move has sparked a full-blown tariff war. But here's the twist: India isn't fighting this battle alone. From Asia to the Middle East, from South America to Europe, several nations are quietly, or openly, backing India's right to choose its own energy partners. In today's video, we'll break down the 8 countries that might stand with India against U.S. pressure, why they matter, and how this showdown could reshape the balance of power in 2025. Is America isolating India? Or is it accidentally building a new anti-U.S. coalition? Stick with me, because the answers might surprise you. And hey, quick reminder, 96% of you watch our videos, but haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy deep dives like this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join our growing community. It's free and it helps us bring you more content every week. Starting our countdown at number 8, we have Turkey, a country that's no stranger to navigating complex geopolitical waters. Turkey, like India, has been a significant buyer of Russian oil, with Russia supplying a substantial portion of its energy needs. In 2024, Turkey imported millions of barrels of Russian crude, leveraging discounted prices to fuel its economy while maintaining a delicate balance with Western allies. Why might Turkey support India? Well, it's simple, they're in a similar boat. The U.S. has threatened secondary tariffs on countries buying Russian oil, and Turkey could be next on the hit list. Supporting India could be a way for Turkey to push back against what it sees as U.S. overreach. Plus, Turkey and India have strengthened ties in recent years, with trade agreements and defense talks gaining momentum in 2025. President Erdogan's government has openly criticized Western sanctions on Russia, calling them hypocritical, especially since EU nations still indirectly import Russian energy. Turkey's strategic position as a NATO member yet a Russia-friendly player makes it a potential ally for India in this tariff war, even if it's more about shared interests than deep loyalty. At number 7, we have Brazil, a fellow BRICS member and a country already facing steep U.S. tariffs. In 2025, Brazil is dealing with its own 50% tariff from the U.S., making it one of the most heavily taxed trading partners alongside India. This shared economic pressure creates a natural alignment. Brazil has maintained trade with Russia despite Western sanctions, importing fertilizers and some energy resources critical for its agricultural sector. The U.S. tariffs on India, announced in August 2025, have sparked outrage in New Delhi, and Brazil's government has echoed similar sentiments, calling the levies unfair. With bilateral trade between India and Brazil growing, reaching $15 billion in 2024, Brazil has a vested interest in supporting India to counterbalance U.S. economic dominance. Additionally, Brazil's leadership under President Lula has been vocal about sovereignty in trade decisions, aligning with India's stance that its Russian oil purchases are driven by energy security for its 1.4 billion people. If the U.S. escalates its tariff threats, Brazil might rally behind India to protect the BRICS bloc's autonomy. Coming in at number 6 is South Africa, another BRICS partner with a stake in this geopolitical chess game. South Africa has maintained a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, continuing trade with Moscow, particularly in minerals and energy. In 2024, South Africa imported significant volumes of Russian oil and gas, and like India, it justifies these purchases as essential for economic stability. The U.S.'s 50% tariff hike on India, effective August 27, 2025, has raised alarms in Pretoria, as South Africa could face similar penalties. Supporting India could strengthen the BRICS coalition, which South Africa sees as a counterweight to Western economic pressures. In early 2025, India and South Africa held high-level talks to boost trade, with agreements on technology and renewable energy. South Africa's support might not be overt, but behind closed doors, it could back India's push for diplomatic solutions to ease U.S. tariffs, especially since both nations share a history of resisting external economic coercion. At number 5, we have Saudi Arabia, a surprising but strategic potential ally. As one of the world's top oil producers, Saudi Arabia competes with Russia in the global energy market. yet it has maintained pragmatic relations with Moscow through OPEC+. In 2025, Saudi Arabia has been vocal about stabilizing global oil prices, and India's role as a major buyer of discounted Russian oil has helped keep prices in check. If India were forced to shift away from Russian oil due to U.S. tariffs, it could increase demand for Saudi crude, but at a higher cost, potentially spiking global prices. Saudi Arabia has a $25 billion trade relationship with India, with oil and petrochemicals dominating exports. In January 2025, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman met with Indian PM Narendra Modi to discuss energy cooperation, signaling a deepening partnership. Saudi Arabia might support India quietly, perhaps by lobbying the U.S. to ease tariffs or by offering India favorable oil deals to offset economic losses, aligning with its own interest in maintaining market stability. Number 4 is Iran, a country with a long history of standing up to U.S. sanctions. Iran and India share a robust energy and trade relationship, with India importing Iranian oil before U.S. sanctions tightened in 2019. In 2025, Iran remains a close partner, with joint projects like the Chabahar port strengthening economic ties. Iran, like India, faces U.S. economic pressure and has continued trade with Russia, including oil swaps and military cooperation. The U.S.'s tariff escalation on India has been called unjustified by New Delhi, and Iran's leadership has echoed this sentiment, criticizing U.S. double standards. Iran's support for India could manifest through increased energy trade or diplomatic backing in forums like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO). In July 2025, Iran and India signed a new trade pact to bypass U.S. dollar transactions, showing their mutual interest in defying Western economic dominance. Iran's alignment with India is a no-brainer. They're both navigating the same U.S.-led sanction storm. At number 3, we have the UAE, a key Middle Eastern ally for India. The UAE is one of India's top trading partners, with bilateral trade hitting $85 billion in 2024. As a major oil supplier, the UAE benefits from India's energy demands, but also competes with Russia. In 2025, the UAE has deepened its strategic partnership with India through the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement (CEPA), boosting investments in technology and infrastructure. The U.S.'s 50% tariff on India threatens to disrupt this trade dynamic, potentially increasing costs for UAE exports to India if India retaliates. The UAE has maintained neutral relations with Russia, continuing energy trade despite Western sanctions. In February 2025, UAE leaders expressed support for India's energy security needs during a summit with Modi. The UAE could support India by mediating with the U.S. or offering alternative energy supplies to cushion the tariff's impact, aligning with its role as a diplomatic bridge in global conflicts. At number 2, we have China, a heavyweight in this tariff war drama. China is the largest buyer of Russian oil by value, importing massive volumes in 2024. Yet it has avoided U.S. tariffs so far, raising questions about selective enforcement. India and China, despite their border tensions, share a common interest as BRICS members in resisting U.S. economic pressure. In 2024, India-China trade reached $120 billion, and both nations have coordinated in BRICS to promote alternative payment systems bypassing the U.S. dollar. In August 2025, China's foreign ministry criticized U.S. tariffs on India as unfair, signaling potential solidarity. China's support could be strategic. Backing India diverts U.S. attention and strengthens the BRICS bloc. However, this alliance is shaky due to geopolitical rivalries. Still, in a July 2025 BRICS summit, both nations agreed to deepen economic cooperation, suggesting China might back India diplomatically or through trade concessions to counter U.S. tariffs. And at number 1, the top country likely to support India is, unsurprisingly, Russia itself. Russia is India's largest oil supplier, accounting for 35% of India's crude imports in 2024, with trade hitting a record $68.7 billion in 2025. The U.S.'s 50% tariff on India, effective August 27, 2025, directly targets this relationship, aiming to choke Russia's oil revenues. Russia has publicly defended India, with Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov calling U.S. tariffs attempts to force countries to stop trade relations with Russia in August 2025. India and Russia share a decades-long strategic partnership, with India relying on Russian arms and energy. In July 2025, PM Modi's visit to Moscow reinforced this bond, with new agreements on energy and defense. Russia could support India by offering deeper oil discounts, alternative payment mechanisms, or diplomatic pressure in global forums like the UN. This alliance is rock solid, driven by mutual economic and strategic interests against U.S. sanctions. Outro. And there you have it, the 8 countries that might stand with India in this high-stakes tariff war against the U.S. over Russian oil purchases. From Russia's unwavering support to Turkey's shared defiance, these nations could reshape global trade dynamics in 2025. What do you think? Will India hold its ground? Or will the U.S. tariffs force a shift? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more geopolitical deep dives. See you in the next one.